The first thing I just want to say is Rob Bruno has had to resign, unfortunately, because of conflict with his work schedule. So we're down to 5 members. Did you put me in touch with Dominic?
Yes.
So I met with him.
Okay.
We had a nice chat. I told him what he needed to do to become a member. Sent him a copy of the application. I haven't heard anything. So I don't know if he's still interested or what, but you can certainly use one more people if you don't even.
I'll scan the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be another IT person somewhere in my neighborhood.
Me too. I was with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just making notes.
All right. So first thing is any questions on the agenda, which I sent out? And any questions about the minutes that David did? Or I did, whatever.
I edited a little bit.
March 2nd.
But do we roll call vote on both?
Yes, we can. So someone can make a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda and the minutes in one vote.
Second it.
All right. Although, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Chuck, are you okay with the minutes and the agenda?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. All right. You guys have the floor.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the agenda.
So we said, you said contract has half of the equipment.
Talked to contract, they have half the equipment, half of the materials to start. They said they're waiting on a few key pieces, and as soon as they have that, they'll give us a call to schedule. They said that they feel that they're going to have this up probably in the next 30 days or so. They said just based on what they've received already.
So they haven't received enough to actually
Start, yeah. They don't want to come out and do part of it and then leave it on the pole for, hanging for a while. They want to do it in one shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's missing, if it's internal pieces or something like that, or if it's external. They didn't get into the weeds with it, but they said it is coming in. They said that's a good start.
So you said you thought they would be
Possibly
like a summer.
I'm thinking if they get everything in by the end of April, beginning of May, that they'll schedule us for a June, July, install. And then that'll get at least the fiber on the pole. And then after that, they have the splice crew come through and put it all together. So, and then they have to bring it into each of the buildings, terminate, test, certify, all that. So I'm thinking, if we're being realistic about it, let's, put a date of like September is probably the light up date on it. And hopefully by then we've gotten all the parts we need out of HP Aruba. And
That was the next question. Do you think that that's realistic too, to get everything?
I'm hoping so. Just based on, they did give us the APs, which came through and we installed. I'm thinking the switches aren't too far behind.
So September will be safe for that as well.
Yeah, I would say so, because we're gonna have to get all the HP switches that we ordered for the wired fiber project. We need to get all those configured so that then we have to do some work about doing some network work in each of the buildings to make all of it work. So I was talking to Dave about that separately.
Okay. That's positive.
Yeah, we are making progress. Very slow progress, but we are doing it.
Can you close, just X the transcripts?
Oh, sorry. What else?
Good.
Do we have an update on the server from the town hall? Have you and Joe talked about what you're going to do?
We've gone back and forth with Retrofit a few times, tweaking the quote that we were working on. Honestly, with all the community center stuff going on, it's been kind of backburnered.
Okay.
Just so we can get through, getting that lit up on time.
Yeah.
And I didn't get. Did you get copies of their monthly reports from Retrofit?
I did, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything stand out to you?
No, I don't know if you looked at it.
No, there's usually, there were a couple of things they pinged us on,
Yeah.
I had Chris go check out, but other than that, we do have pretty constant communication with them, which is good.
Okay.
Yeah, if they see something odd, they text,
I'll let you know.
they put an email into us. Usually.
Okay.
Can we just go back to the town hall server?
Yes.
Is there a drop dead date where if we haven't decided, we're committed to a physical procurement?
Would imagine it's the end of the fiscal year to use this year's monies. I don't know.
No, it's money that was approved on a warrant article, so we can spend it whenever. So there's no time limit as far as that goes.
So the physical server can limp along until you decide what to do.
Yeah, and the server that we have now we own, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, as long as it stays in service.
It's working.
And it's covered by update there. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So, knocking on Murphy here, it should be good. It's,
Okay, yeah, current server is currently good.
yeah, we're trying to figure out also timing on that. If we're reworking the network config, that would be a good time to move the server into the equation. So we're not setting up a server one way and then having to go back and reset it up another way after we change the server.
So would it make sense to wait till after the fiber's installed, or?
It depends on what we do. If we end up going with a hosted server in the cloud, it doesn't really matter when we do it. We can do it at any time. It's just
You can reconfigure the world.
right. It's if we bring in a physical server that we have to house somewhere, now it's whatever octet it's on. It's going to be, it's just.
I don't think it's the biggest difference. We're going to have to move the server no matter, we're going to have to re-IP the server no matter what. If it's the new server or the old server, it's the
Yeah,
same
we have
amount
to
of
do it
work.
twice.
Right.
If we have to replace the server and then decide to go to the cloud.
No, what I was saying is if we have to re-IP
re-IP the
everything.
server
Yeah,
and then go to the cloud.
So we're going to put one configuration into it to get us through until we're done with the fiber project. Then we have to
yeah.
put in the new configuration after we do that. It's just double the work and more the aggravation. It's like if we can time it right, we can just drop it in, configure it, and be done.
Okay.
And how did the Vadar thing go? Is that, are they using it now in the cloud?
Yeah.
Cloud version of it?
Started on Monday. Right? Yeah, it's interesting how they set it up. It's not exactly like fully web-based as much as I had expected. They use that Citrix workspace app that opens access. So they go into the website, the Vadar Cloud website, and then it opens Citrix, which opens access pretty much. It's a little different, but for the most part, there hasn't been too many problems.
Okay. Well, that's good because that provides confidence that stuff in the cloud could work.
Yeah.
It's harder to
No,
tell if it
yeah.
works. Yes.
It works well. So.
Okay. Okay, so community center.
So we loaned a switch from school to the community center to get the access points up and running. Chris and I set up a basic internet and basic Wi-Fi in there so that we can get computers functioning in the building. It's just really temporary until we figure out what the final configuration of the network looks like after post fiber. And then we got the information to the HVAC and lighting control company so that they could get their equipment in and set up.
And they really messed that up. That's why I asked you about lighting control.
Oh, really? Yeah, they had, when I was there were a couple different crews working in there and they were still fussing with stuff.
You heard the story about this high school in Westminster, Mass. I think it was. They had a lighting control system installed that was somehow integrated with the HVAC system, and they were not able to turn the lights off for over 2.5 years. The lights are on in the whole building for 2.5 years. The company who provided the lighting control system went out of business, and then they couldn't find somebody who knew it to be able to figure out what the hell.
Could we unscrew the bulbs every night?
It was almost
There's no bulbs on a screw there. That's the crazier part. I did see the guys do the setup in there. It is really cool when it's.
So I was there, I was in there on Tuesday, because he was there Tuesday, and he was explaining to me that all of the interior lights are hardwired to a control panel in the electrical room. And programming it is very complicated, which is not what we wanted. The outdoor lights in the parking lot are all accessible through an app. So you can turn them on, easily with an app, because they all have a little Bluetooth chip in them and they work that way. But the internal ones are a mess. So today, at the weekly construction meeting, we learned that some lights in the restrooms are on 24/7. One restroom, the lights can't be turned on at all. So, needless to say, there's a big issue there with lights.
Is this under the IP addresses for HVAC and lighting?
Yes.
Yes.
So, but I'm assuming that he eventually got the IP address that you provided.
Yes, I've asked them a couple of times now just for the info. They emailed me back. I did see an email in here.
So the only thing, the only question that came up relative to the community center was we're missing one Aruba
Yeah.
access point.
It's on the list of things that they're trying to find, ETAs on.
Yeah.
So we're still missing switches, which we haven't received yet. We were 2 or 3, I think. And then there are, that one AP, the singular AP,
4 switches for there.
it's 3 or 4, I don't remember which. We haven't got any of the switches, so I was just basically like, give me an update on what we haven't, what do you show shipped and what do you don't show shipped. So that was supposed to come today, but it's still business hours in California, so I may get it at like 6:30 or something. And then some of the patch, we were just like some ministerial stuff like patch cords and stuff like that. I ordered some more of those. Those just came in, so we're
Okay.
trying to clean up the wiring in there a little bit.
So just for your knowledge, Bob Magley is ordering stuff this week. Monitors, Barco devices, and whatever else he needs to hook up the monitors and install the NVR next. So he's planning
Do it all in one shot.
next week to be in there and installing all of that stuff. So I don't know if one of the things we're going to need to do once part of his installation is test it out.
Yeah, so it'll probably be, his crew's good anyway. We've used them before and they do good work, so I'm not worried about it. Their guys know how to find us, so.
Okay, so just so you know that's on the agenda for next week.
If you talk to Bob, just tell him to have Christian or whoever's doing the install call me and we'll get in there.
The other thing we wanted to get on your calendar is will there be a public network up and running for May 1st?
I mean, we could set something up definitely.
Just like what we have here, public version.
Yeah, we can figure something out there again.
I mean, it wouldn't be, because the only reason we asked about that is the library is scheduled, the senior center is scheduled to be open for business on May 1st, which is a Monday. Library on May 2nd, which is a Tuesday. So there will be people in the building who connect, and I don't think we want them to connect to the network you have set up now, because we could, I would just give them the password, but
Yeah, no, we wouldn't do that. We set up a login page like.
Yeah, the web capture portal.
yeah, just so if that's not a big deal to do, then if we could get that for May 1st, that would be great.
So would it require a password to get to the the portal?
That's they're wide open, so.
It's wide open, so you just have to go through the I agree.
Yeah.
Just like here, you don't need a password, I'm connected here.
I've never connected
Yeah.
yet.
You just want to make sure that once they're on, they have no access to the inside. It's just internet only.
They segregate everything for what we do at school. We have a separate network for that. That goes.
I didn't know if you could do that with the switch that's there.
They will have to go through a legal disclosure page.
So at school, we have one that pops up, just says, you're on a public network, understand that, we might be watching what you're doing and everything's filtered.
Do we, by the way?
School, no, because it's a library.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, got it.
That whole conversation we had. So right now, there's no filtering at all. Just
But logging, can we?
it's logged, yes.
So
We know where they went, but they don't have any
Yeah,
restrictions on where they can go.
that's what I meant. There's no restrictions, but there is tracking. So
Dave and I were talking about, what you call it, a syslog server there, so we can.
So I've got two rack mount servers that they're actually new in box. And I was just gonna donate them to use the syslog server. I gotta fire them up and see what they do.
okay, so just a matter of interest. So they will be subpoenable.
Yeah, it logs it for a certain amount of time. Eventually it overwrites itself probably, but the one in the Sonic wall lasts like a week or something.
I don't even know how much disk space is in them. I gotta fire them up and see what they got.
Yeah. So at the school, what we do is we just set them to, maximum log.
Yeah.
It's like once it hits the end of its disk space, it just starts overwriting. So it's like, whatever's reasonable. Sometimes they'll come back to me in a year and ask for it, but if you ask for me in the same week, I can definitely find it for free.
The reason I'm drilling on this is, are we subject to any state-owned retention requirements for public access networks provided by the town?
As long as we have a policy for it. And so you can set the policy to whatever you want. It's like 7 days or 7 hours or 7 seconds, whatever you want. It's just going to be.
Yeah, I think we just got to decide, and I think, John would be great to have that conversation. Just get the policy down on what our retention is for both the internal network, and I know there's all these rules about the library public that I don't understand.
So there's also a third-party internet company that deals with just the library stuff that's done through the library network, like the state version, so like CW Mars or So Matthew's working that piece of it, and he's going to give us the info on it.
Okay.
So once we get all that, we'll make sure that that's set up the way they need it, so that that all the library resources work the way they're supposed to. Like, you can get to the databases, you can get to the
I can download my audiobooks.
exactly all that stuff. But there's also some internet access.
5G.
There is internet access built baked into that too, so that they manage all of that.
Yeah.
For us, we just need to be able to make sure our internet connection works, so we can get to the internet, so we can get to them. And we also, Chris and I tested the VPN connections to the town hall and stuff. That all works. So we can start the building up normally and have it functional for the first day. That's doable. The public access network we can set up pretty quickly. That's not a big deal. It's just I didn't leave it on there for now because I just know who's in and out of the building. And
There's no need, and again, may have liability, so they're coming.
There was some discussion today when we were talking about lighting controls of of it being on the building's network, which I would assume means it's through a VPN.
so yeah, they sent me some info. I just looked at it a little while ago that they need a VPN access just because there's so many controllers that it's not just one device that they're trying to connect to that connects to all of them. It's multiple devices that they need to get into. So in their case, it makes sense to have a VPN. With the HVAC controls, it's just one controller on the wall.
So the HVAC is separate. I don't know how, I think it's just one, I'm not sure, but
It
lighting
should be.
is.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of
This,
stuff.
and this is what you remember what John and I talked about, all of these little Internet of Things devices, so all the building management systems, we want these on a separate VLAN that we can get to them, but we want to have it so those devices, if they ever were to be compromised, can't come back to us.
So we have some setup. I know with the school's HVAC setup, they have very specific settings that I need to, like, it has to be a public IP with certain ports open that they can get into so that they can edit it and do stuff without a VPN. And they need, on that, they need something else, drawing a blank. Because it's all like off ports and stuff like that. So it basically, when we looked at the setup over at the community center, it's a newer version of what we have. So not so unsurprisingly. I don't think there's many.
But they have it source IP restricted, right? It's just to them. They give you their IP and you put that
It
in the
ignores
firewall.
everyone else in the world.
Hey, Chuck, have you had experience with this issue in what you do?
We're talking about remote access for the vendor.
Yeah, like for lighting controls and HVAC stuff.
Yeah, we do all sorts of third-party solar, et cetera. Everything you guys have said is absolutely right on as far as restricting, access to a particular source IP and all that. So I completely agree with the approach you guys are taking.
Okay, good. One other thing about the community center, and that is the dedication date is June 14th, which is a Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. in the evening. So if you're available, I would hope all of everyone on this committee could attend if that's doable. Since we all had a lot of time spent on this building.
Okay, the week is that?
It's a Wednesday, and the date was picked because it's the
Oh, yeah, no,
town's
right,
birthday.
it's right.
Right. So, okay.
Which day again? I'm
Steve,
sorry.
June
hey,
14th.
Steve,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Did you say they picked it because it's Flag Day?
It's also Flag Day. Yeah. No, we didn't pick it because it's Flag Day.
You know
We
why.
picked it because it's the
You know
town's
why.
birthday.
All right, sorry.
See the pictures from 1935, haven't you?
Yeah. All right.
Hey, only another, how many years ago? If we're all alive.
Since we don't have any guests, let's talk about 5G.
12 years. So, wait a minute, we finished,
I think we finished everything else.
okay, Right?
Yep.
I have nothing to add to. I have something to add to the email I sent around, and there were 3 points to it. One was most by 5G I mean the placement of little directional antennas carrying between 28 and 60 gigahertz traffic down the street, or onto private land, or onto town land. And I actually I reread what I got from North Reading, and the lady there, the planner there, said, yeah, most of our stuff is on right of way and is covered by the border settlement, and we split planning border off from border settlement, and most of the BOS rules cover there, and there's very few antennas that the planning board control. But planning board is the current focus, so I'm focusing on that. I'm in discussion with Michael about ways of making the warrant article actually a valid warrant article, because right now it isn't in many respects. And
so just for your knowledge and for Chuck, there's a citizen's petition on the warrant for the town meeting, for the annual town meeting, that would put a temporary halt on any 5G stuff in the town for an unspecified period of time.
Yeah, for a period of time that we're not in control of, for something that's supposed to be completed in 60 days. The period of time is that the FCC has persuaded the courts, district court, 2 district courts, that their current exposure rules are valid, using a process that the DC district court said you haven't followed the process yet, do it, but didn't give them a deadline. The warrant article wants us to pause all permissions for putting these things up until they do it. It also specifies that they should do experiments on 5 nanometer radiation, which it doesn't say in the decision by the district court. So there's lots of stuff going in there. The warrant article also tries to amend bylaw 300-6.2, where it doesn't belong, it belongs in 300-9. It's all kinds of work needs to be done on it to make it valid, and then we'll address it. However, there were meetings this week, Monday and today, I think, later today, by an environmental pressure group, talking about the sort of bad thing 5G is, and we should use fiber instead. The idea of attaching fiber to a smart car while it's going down the street just amuses me. But we all know the problems with getting fiber in town.
Yeah.
It will require a major shift in state and federal policy.
Now, are we talking about telecom usage?
Yes.
Private industry usage?
Yes, and yes, and yes. So
Okay.
I think the current law is that any telecom company has the absolute right to put these antennas up, but they have to open the bandwidth anyway, presumably for fees. So there are companies you never heard of that are erecting antennas in other towns. But you will get faster internet, especially mobile, and it's damn sight cheaper to put them up every 200 feet than it is to drop a cable into the ground or even on the planet.
We've seen in the Mendon side group on T-Mobile has the microcells on the telephone there, because we were asking about coverage, because we were having issues with our cellular coverage in that area with T-Mobile and Sprint. We swatched, so we ended up going Verizon, just had better signal coverage in the area. And I was told by the people that were selling it anyway, and I believe them, that got confirmed when we lost a fiber connection, because the Comcast guys came out and they're like, oh, we just fixed the T-Mobile repeater up the street too that was out. So they definitely have them out there, and they do exist.
Well, there are existing repeaters that have nothing to do with 5G.
Yeah, these are just, specific ones that are, clipped onto the telephone pole.
Right. These things are.
They're not talking device to device. They're talking device to.
They're maximum two cubic feet, and their primary purpose is to bounce pole to pole. I think it's a 200-foot to 300-foot spread. But also, they can communicate with your device, and what frequencies they use for that, I kind of got lost in.
You're kind of like having a Wi-Fi repeater.
It's a mesh network.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it just a constant repeat.
So presumably will communicate with your 4G phone. Now the 4G frequency is 2 to 4 gigahertz. but their primary transmission rate is in the 28 to 60 range, 26. Yeah, 26 to 60 range. And if you get a 5G phone that can operate that fast, then presumably they will talk to them itself. But there was a great piece in New York Times. This woman woke up one morning to find one of these little things right outside her window.
Right.
And the only two quotes that were useful were some telecommunications doctor scientist said, "There's absolutely no harm to this woman for this thing," and she said, "I'm getting great reception." Because my view out my window is already ugly as hell. So that's anecdotally. So tactically, I'm going to wait until Michael has reorganized the article and then anticipate what the arguments will be on the town meeting floor, be ready to address them to reassure people, first of all, federal regulation is big for this restriction anyway. Secondly, here's the reason not to worry about it. Because whatever they say, they run foul of Title 47 SEC laws and regulations. You cannot do this. But I'm waiting for the lawyer to agree because it depends a bit on interpretation. We don't, to my knowledge, we don't have any of the roadside antenna in town yet. And if they do, they'll be on Main Street. And if that's on Main Street, then only the state can regulate.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. It's all part of the 5G collection technologies, from what's the circuits in your cell phone to how the mega towers communicate and yeah, what encoding they use. There's a lot of stuff about 5G, but this is about the millimeter wave transmissions. I gave a report, and I will just say that. Any questions about that?
I mean, the likelihood of T-Mobile or Verizon or whoever willing to make an investment in this town, I would say, I don't know, small.
They would honestly do it more along the main roads as, commuter coverage.
So, but here's my question. Is I don't know whether this would apply or not. When cable came, the franchise agreement that the town signed with the cable company, Charter, initially was Time Warner, I think, required them to wire the entire town.
Mm-hmm.
When 5G antennas start coming,
That will be market demand.
do we know if there's the same requirement?
No, there'll be market demand.
So they could conceivably only install them along the main routes
Yeah, they could.
because the rest of the town is too far apart, too
Well, I don't think it's too far apart. Since there may not be the demand for because most of the telecoms are rebranding their 4G as 5G anyway, because maybe they got one 5G circuit somewhere in the line. You're right, but about the more rural, when it started, I got in touch with the planner in Grafton to say, well, what are you doing about this? Because you've got Route 122. That's going to be, that's going to be one before we are. And they said, oh yeah, we should think about this. Let us know. So a lot of towns.
And then we have, areas like where you live and where I live, there are no telephone poles.
Yeah, no.
Well, they can.
But I walk out my driveway and I'm staring at an AT&T 5G tower.
Okay.
Well, yeah, the big towers are getting the antennas too. And by the way the current article is written, that would also prevent them from making any modifications to those towers. Indefinitely.
Why would we want to?
I don't want to, but they have cast a net rather too broadly, in my opinion.
Light me up.
Yeah. Anyway,
And
so
the
towns like I spoke to North Reading and Littleton people, Wakefield, Hull, other towns, Seattle. I've read all of their very similar regulations for these things. Seattle, up to the extent, and Littleton's pages and pages of technical drawings of how you anyway, we wouldn't have that. But the point is, we don't do it. If we don't have regulations for how to place these things, then we cannot control how they do it on the main street. So we can't control whether these things are pink outside someone's windows and humming or whatever. Whereas I have written regulations for Michael that say, no, you cannot do these things. So
So we want to say, we want you to do it, we just don't want you to do it wrong.
Yes.
And we want you to provide the service to a greater
We
part of
want
the
you
town.
to say exactly what you're going to put and where.
Yeah.
And we can then sign it off if it meets our regulations, but our regulations have to fit within the restrictions of Title 46.
And then there are gonna be people in different sections of town who say, I want it.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna be obligated to provide it for them.
Correct.
Also, I was wondering, can you write this in such a way where you actually, you welcome it, but you say, we welcome it, but you've got to provide the service to the town, to everybody in the town.
I don't know,
That I don't know.
because that would probably be a negative that they wouldn't wanna incur, because like I said, this kind of a town is too spread out, too.
Yeah, you get, I mean, the main thing you get is two things. You get more reliable connections to literally mobile and temporary installations. And you get faster connections for, people sitting in a park playing a video game.
You can't drive down Westboro Road without dropping a call.
Yeah.
And I was on AT&T and Verizon.
Oh yeah, no, you can't drive into Rockwood Meadows without dropping an AT&T.
I mean,
So that's the current state. I expect them to come. I would love to have the regulations in place on both the planning board side and the selectmen side for them when they do get a poll hearing. But right now, Michael's busy, and right now we have to prevent the doomsayers from putting out regulations that would prevent us from writing decent regulations and also be challenged in court.
that's true. Okay.
Thank you for giving me the time.
The incident response plan, I'm waiting for John to feel better. He and I will then get together again, like we've been trying to do. Do you have, is it something that you've worked on or thought about, is doing a 5-year plan?
Technology plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started the process, and then it just kind of got backburned because we're working on the strategic plan for the whole district. We wanted to finish that first and kind of tailor the tech plan around that.
Because we had drafted one a long time ago, and it's probably way out of date, but I don't know.
I know it was something we talked about, Joe and I had talked about separately, that it does need to get done now, but just, timing wise, we're going through the process on the school side, we're getting the strategic plan done. Once we have that done, then I can write the
A strategic plan.
the overall learning goals and stuff like that for the school side. And then once we have that in place, I can tailor the technology plan around, what our goals are.
This 5-year plan, we really focused on the town here. The one we've had, town rather than school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the school has a separate strategic plan, just, for our, purposes.
Okay, so when you've done that, then the 5-year plan for school and town.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to have a lot of overlap just because of the way we're working. I think in the town side, I don't know, we have a town's 5-year plan or 10-year plan?
We have, the town has, for the town, we have a 5-year plan. We did have one at one point. I think it's woefully out of date. But anyway, we were thinking just so that from a budget standpoint, it becomes a little bit easier to plan for what equipment needs to be purchased or leased or whatever.
Yeah, I think with where we are with the fiber project and the community center project, once we get those kind of settled and know where we are, I think that's a good idea to have for a future,
All right. The only, do you have any last action items?
We have outstanding action items. You've addressed the IRP, you've checked about the equipment delivery dates, you provided the loaner equipment. We still need the lease and purchase thing. So lease and purchase, that's an ongoing action item. And that's an action item. That's an action item, sorry. Mind up taking methods. Delivery dates, you got that. It's action items haven't been covered in the body of the meeting, and some are carried forward.
One other thing, and that is the building committee asked the video arts students at BBT to create a video, short-ish video, that shows the progression of the building from start to finish, sort of, and also intersperses in that a acknowledgement of the contributions from both Jim Brochu and John Robertson. I met with them this week, the kids, doing an awesome job, kids. And the question, so two things. One thing is for the dedication ceremony in June, we're going to want to have that video looping on all the monitors. And my question was, does that mean we'll need a laptop in each room?
Not necessarily. If we have the digital signage monitors installed at that point, we can do like carousel or something on it, so it'll.
So there's one digital sign that's going to be in the lobby, and there's like 5 other monitors in different rooms.
So the way carousel works, it's an app.
So
So as long as there's an Apple TV attached to the TV, even if we have to borrow one, for the event, we could set it up so that we could make the TV into a sign.
Okay. So that's
what we do at the school. So like we just buy a regular TV like this, and we put the Apple TV on it, and then we set using our MDM the app to just run. And you can't use the remote. Like none of that works. It's going to be done from the software.
okay. And is there any particular format that the video needs to be in?
Yeah, it takes most of the major video formats. So
Okay.
if you get it in like MPEG or movie or whatever,
I can offer them one neat trick. For the website that I did to promote the question in town meeting, I managed to take the architect's drawing before anything started and match it to the Google Street View from exactly the same spot and fade it one into the other.
Oh, wow.
They still have that online.
That was a goal.
Yeah.
The one thing I wish we had, and we don't have, is we don't have any video from the town meeting vote on the football field.
Oh yeah, it was freezing, and I had the
So we don't have that. So the other thing is they're going to so they're going to create this video, which is really for the dedication ceremony. They're also doing a little promo version of it, short version of it, that we wanted to try to run on the monitor outside the auditorium in the high school on the night of our town meeting.
Yeah, as long as we get it ahead of time, just so the office staff, the office staff can help you with that. If not, just give it to Chris or I, and we can get it for you.
So they're coming. The kids are coming over to the community center on May 1st to take a few final pictures of what the inside looks like, and our town meeting is May 4th. So
as long as it's ready to go, we can get it into our. So Nipmuc runs a slideshow on their stuff, on pretty much every day. They edit it. So as long as you give it to us in the morning, we can get it in there. And
okay,
set it
so
for the night.
if I were to drop it off in the morning, they could set it up to run at night, or get in touch with you.
Get in touch with Chris.
Yeah, send it to me or something, that I can give it to them.
Sorry, we'd probably like to run from like 6:30. Town meeting starts at 7, so like starting around 6:30.
Yeah,
It'll
Just
it'll
loop
loop forever till you change it.
Okay.
Configuration.
So yeah, when the girls come in the morning to do the morning one,
Yeah.
they'll just override it with the next day.
All right, great. That's awesome. Because that's going to be a good, way to build some buzz for the new building is by having people coming into the town meeting to be able to see that video. Okay. The only other thing we need to decide on is when we should meet again. April 30th.
So that was Sunday.
Sunday.
27th is 4 weeks.
April. So the 27th. Is that 4 weeks? Yeah. How's that work?
Yep.
Chuck, are you good with April 27th?
2 seconds. Yep.
Okay,
All
awesome.
day.
You guys are okay with that?
Just makes it.
Okay.
4 PM, same place, same veteran. I move to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Hey.
Aye.
Chuck,
Aye.
thanks for participating, Chuck.
Yeah, no problem. I'll see you guys. No,
Before
so
you-
what exactly is happening on May 1st? I mean, you can just show up. It's open to the public.
May 1st, May 1st is the date the senior center is opening, which is a Monday. The library is opening the next day on Tuesday.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.